So now let's prepare for the final thing, and the thing is that I can save this one, and let's change few things before. Let's just start from 0. For the container, the main container here, we will have to extend it, so I think we need to increase this a little, which is the height, to make sure that we have all the particles included, not much, like this as example. Yeah, this is nice. And for here also we need to increase this one, which is the depth, although I think it's just good. And for this one, the most important thing is the width. I think we have to at least make sure that it's of the screen. Yeah, that's good. Something around that. And we have now almost 68 millions and something. That's exactly the final resolution I want for the thing. And even I can reduce this a little and have this as example less, because it's just off screen totally. This one I can say maybe like this, yeah. And for this one, finally, still we are 68 millions, and this is the final resolution. We can just simulate this. What else we have to consider here? I don't think we need to consider anything. We added a little, if you remember, we added a little surface tension, which is good, and I think we can animate it as we did before. That's it, nothing else. Let's just jump to the petals. So I will hide this one, and let's go here. We don't need to see the ice cubes, so I will hide them. And for this one, instead of doing all the work again and again for the other bottles, what I will do is simply this. If you go here and unhide the other bottles, say bottles, I have the middle one, the left one, and the right one. And what we can do, because everything is parented to this, so if I will move this right or left, everything will move with it. And I don't want to resimulate everything from scratch. So what I can do is that I will jump to the perspective, and I will include all these objects. So this is the bottle, and all these are its elements, like the collision and all these. So I will include all these, and I will copy them simply. Of course, I can include also a shader. So if I have this now, all I need to do is to copy it and make sure it's, I can align it directly, but yes, that's it. And I can do this for the other bottle here, the same way. Of course, we can go here and for the left bottle, which we have here, I can hide it, and I can pick up everything again, the metal bottle, with the collision object. Of course, this belongs here, so middle one. Again, I just can copy this, including this one, and just bring it here. And after all I need to do is to change the logo for these two, and that's it. Now, to make some variation for the liquid inside, what I will do is that when I will send you this file, I will include the initial state here, which we, if you remember, we'll go here to the simulator, go down to output, where I kept everything. If you remember, we have initial state, which was here. And this file is important because it includes all the liquids, the basic liquid inside the bottle. And if you notice that we have exactly the same liquid in all the bottles, but we don't want it to be exactly the same. So what I will do is that I will include this for you. So what you will do, and for this bottle, it's exactly the same. We don't need to do anything. We start from here, and the way we start the simulation is that we go to load and start. We pick up the initial and we run, and we make sure that we are saving all the simulation product or output inside what we call column middle. And for the other ones, what we will do is that I'll go to this one, and I can open a new folder for the output here, and I will call it cola left as example. And inside it, I will say cola, and that's it. So you will see there is nothing. But what I can do here, because I want to change this, it doesn't simulate exactly like that. I can go back like, let's say 10 frames. Sorry, minus 10. And here I can change this into minus 10 for the simulator. And of course you can go here and make sure you bring this one, copy it. You can keep it here or just move it here and rename it to minus 10 and choose it and open. When you open, the simulation will start from minus 10 because this is what you put here. Of course you have to put here to the final frame, which I think it's 75 or something. We don't have to simulate to 200 because this is the shot we need in this commercial, and it will start simulating from minus 10. So when it will be at 0, we will see that the start point for this liquid at this stage, which is here, will be different than this one, a little rested more because it has 10 frames to move without any movement for the bottle. This is all, we have no movement for anything. And then we will have different distribution for the particles. We do the same here. So for this one, again, I will go in details with this, and I go to output, browser, and I will create a new one and we'll call it cola right. And in this one, call this cola. It doesn't matter what name here because it's inside. And I can go here to the load, and again I can in the right copy this one and name it minus. What I want for this to start from 5. So it's also different from the other bottle. And I will open and it will start working, but make sure that you have here minus 5 and here enough frames to end up with everything. Also, what I did in the final simulation is that I offset the bottles a little. I don't need to do that actually, but I did that. Is that the animation for the bottle, it was all controlled by this one. What I did is that I had this because it's controlling all the content including the simulator, and I offset the frames, the animation, so it doesn't land at the 5 here. It lands after 5, so it's like in 6, and make sure like it has its own animation, just one frame. So it has animation here, and at 5, let's just go back. At 5 here, or 6, I made sure that it has a keyframe here. So then go back to this frame and I just change its position. So again, it doesn't land exactly with this one. It lands after 1 frame or 2 frames. The same with this one at 4. So I have different movement for all of them. This will add some randomization for the whole situation and will make it interesting more. So that's it. This is all we need to do for this scene, and let's set up the final render. Let's go here and make sure that we have everything right. For this one, we can go to bucket. Actually, we can go to progress and put this to 12 minutes, or let's do something else, bucket, and increase this to 8 or 10 to make sure we capture all the details. Also, we have everything right. I don't want to go through these default settings is good. Maybe you have to change a few things just to make sure you optimize your scene. Light cache, brute force, that's good. Else here you can use the RAMs you have here, the memory you can assign, like how much RAM you have. For the elements, important one is crypto matte mask, which gonna give you mask for every element in the render. That's important for the compositors to have full control over the elements, because you don't want to render again. And you can use multi matte elements if you want by just excluding the background from the near ground, and it's easy to use this one, but with this one I think you have full control. Also, you can add whatever you want, other things like reflection, refraction with the filters, and you can add also the velocity and the Z depth. I think that is good. Global illumination, lighting if you want, all these you can add, and that's it. Now, one thing you can add is the denoiser, and I don't prefer to add it to this situation, because now with all these settings, if you don't want to increase the sampling, already if you have the sampling like this and it's nice, with the denoiser it will kill all the details inside the bubbles, and I don't want to do that, so I will ignore this one. For the Z depth, for the velocity, I don't think we need to change anything, it's that good, and the setting will work with Nuke to obtain some kind of motion blur, which I don't want to do, just simple. So for the camera, all I need to do is to define its distance from here, and we can do that using just this tool, which is the tape tool, and measure from here to here. Or usually when you have a camera, any camera like standard camera, you can always do this and have, if you look up from here, you will have that environment range, which you can reduce here until you are here. That's it. You just increase it until you include everything you want, like this example, this one to the end of the plan, and you have this number which you can input here in the Z depth, and this will be your depth. Of course, you can increase this number, and by increasing this number to know exactly, this is just to know where are the distances. So this is the near ground and this is the background, to define exactly the area of depth of field. And I will put here 17, the number I have here, nearly. For this I don't need this camera, but I have everything right now. To have everything out, you put the range, which is from 0 to 75 as example. You put the resolution you want, you save the files wherever you want here, and you may have EXR, and in EXR I don't think you need to change anything. Half a float 16 bits is good. You can include all the passes inside here, but you can render them separately as we will do, and you can save. Also, you can go here and make sure in the frame buffer you create separate folders for all the elements you created here. I don't want to have RGB or alpha. It's included in the XR, and save this here, and when you render, all these gonna be kept in folders, organized and ready for you. That's it for our scene. This is everything we need to do. And of course, after you do the simulation, you will have all the bubbles and everything. Try to render some frames, because when you have this, every one of these is controlling the bubbles in one of these bottles. I will send you the file which is renamed and ready, but for this you can just change and tweak things based on how they are acting on the camera. Sometimes, and most of the times, you need to render something draft before you finish up with the things, but this is everything I think I need to tell you about how to do such scenes. Now, I did some rendering, and I will open that rendering and I will show you. Then we will do just very simple compositing in a nuke to see how we can put the depth of field, at least, to have more control over, or how the layers can work with us. So let's do that.